welcome to Silver Linings Talk Show.
Yeah.
And this month we're kind of going to talk about something that a lot of people love, but a lot of people love to hate, and that is National Nutrition Month.
Yay!
Some people think that nutrition can be not taste good, right?
Right.
But I don't know. I've come to love eating healthy. I think it can taste so good, and I think how you do it makes a big difference. And I'm going to give some tips, because I think sometimes if you think too hard about it, that's when it gets hard. Mm-hmm. So the benefits of eating seasonally are what are going to really help make it easy. So eating seasonally helps it taste better, because obviously, your produce is ripe, and when it's ripe, it's delicious. It's cheaper. It's cheaper in season because it's plentiful, right? It's fresher, the nutritional value is there, so you're gonna get better benefits from it. And you're not having to have it shipped from overseas where there's chances of contamination. And it supports your body better nutritionally, and you can support local, right? Mm-hmm. Especially when there's those seasonal farmers markets. I mean, who doesn't love to go pick out that fresh produce there?
Mm-hmm.
So this time of year, we're talking, March, where, we're really wanting spring, but we know it's not happening yet. Good things we can cook with are mushrooms, sprouts, chives, acorn and butternut squash, sweet potatoes, Brussels sprouts, kale, carrots, and for fruit, maybe some clementines, grapefruit, and kiwi. So those are quite colorful, and a lot of these vegetables that I mentioned make a really delicious soup. Can you imagine those? Right? I just threw one together last night, and it literally took less than half an hour, and so nutritious and delicious. And people think, oh, soup, it's going to take me hours. It doesn't take that long.
That's what the crock pot's for.
We just got an Instapot, and that has been like
so easy to make soups.
An Instapot.
Yeah.
This was an Instapot recipe. Mm-hmm. I, to be honest, didn't feel like using Instapot because I didn't have to, but it very well could have been cooked even quicker. Mm-hmm. So, Dena, you being a counselor, there's a lot of ties, especially when we're talking about seasonal depression and just overall mental wellness and all that people are going through these days. Numbers are up when we're talking about mental wellness and people who need help.
Sure.
And eating well can be beneficial to your mental health.
Right, of course. It can be supportive to your mental health from the inside and translate on the outside. So I just wanted to highlight like a few foods that I've talk about with clients, and found a couple little tidbits that I didn't know about that I wanted to share today. And I'm going to highlight just 7 foods. And of course, there's probably so many others that people use in their daily routines with food and drink. But I just wanted to highlight 7 foods that support our mental wellness and how they support. So first one is salmon. Salmon is amazing with omega-3 fatty acids, vitamin D, and magnesium. So it is helping to support having lower depression, lower anxiety, increasing our memory. And of course, that doesn't mean I can eat salmon once a month and I'm good. It means at a decent amount that I'm providing myself these foods, that it's going to be helpful and supportive for my overall well-being. 2 is chicken. And I just found out that chicken has tryptophan, which I didn't know. I only thought about that with turkey. And because of the tryptophan, it increases serotonin, which then helps to decrease depression and increase our memory. I didn't know that.
And most of the serotonin that our bodies produce is located in our gut.
Absolutely.
And that's where the gut-brain connection benefit comes in, and that's where food and the benefit of what you're eating comes in as well.
And one of the important things too is our feel-good chemicals in our body are protein-based, and if we are not providing protein, we are not providing sustainability for our serotonin, our norepinephrine, things, all those chemicals that really help us feel good, help kind of defeat depression from the inside. 3, those whole foods, those whole grain, those complex carbs. So one other thing I found out was kind of neat is if you add a carb, a complex carb to chicken or turkey, it actually helps your brain absorb the tryptophan, which helps with depression and anxiety. Avocados are great for memory and concentration. Spinach and green leafy veggies have magnesium, which help to decrease depression. Yogurt or anything with active cultures helps to decrease stress and anxiety. And dark chocolate. 85% cocoa or more is the most beneficial. It has higher levels of flavonoids, which helps increase our attention, our memory, improve our moods, decrease depression and anxiety. So it's not too bad to grab that little piece of chocolate every day.
Right, and so just remember too, all of these things that Dena mentioned are all whole foods. They are not processed foods. They're not laden with sugar. Sugar and processed foods are going to stimulate the centers of your brain that are going to want create your urge to eat more of those foods. So please stick to the whole foods, and I think you're going to notice a big difference in how you feel.
Awesome, yeah.
Hello, everybody. We are so excited about our guest today, Jonathan Bengel. Jonathan is business intuitive healer, transforming heart-centered healers and speakers, entrepreneurs through tax. His topic today is profit mindset and how it relates to our taxes. So take it away, Jonathan.
Yay!
Hello, everybody out there that's watching us live and everything else. Yes, thank you so much for the introduction. Yes, my name is Jonathan Bengel, and I am an intuitive tax strategist. I'm an author, a speaker, and I'm a serial entrepreneur. And what I do really well, thank you so much, it's true, is I guide heart-centered women, entrepreneurs, and a few good men through what I call the darkness of making money, honey, while shredding their taxes and transforming their lives to financial happiness. And of course, I did it through a book that I wrote in 2020 called the ABCs of Deductions, an Entrepreneur's Guide to Tax Write-Offs. And of course, I created an online program to really support that and to help and to step into exactly what we're going to talk about today, which is the profit mindset. You see, I learned a long time ago that when I came from poverty, so what you're looking at is a young boy, well, now as an older man, but I digress. When I was a young boy, I grew up in extreme poverty. And I always explain this to people, what is that? Extreme poverty in my case was born to a single mother who raised 2 boys on less than $500 a month. What that meant is that we often lived in very sub conditions in housing. It meant that sometimes we went without food. It meant that our clothing was often not purchased in advance, especially when school would start, and you had the same clothes, year after year. And it also meant that we didn't get access to the same types of opportunities that a lot of people get access to. But luckily, a 6th grade teacher of mine told me that, Jonathan, the key that ends your poverty is education. And so I set out to make sure that I always did well in school. I ended up graduating number 4 out of 398 students, maintaining a 3.89 GPA, an honor student, an AP student, also the founder of several programs, while still working more than 20 hours a week so I could continue to help my family to survive as well. I would go on later to earn my bachelor's degree in business accounting, and then later my master's degree in secondary education. What I realized by working in the last 18 years, working with a lot of clients, especially small business owners, is that we often would meet after tax season started, meaning right now we're in the month of February and people are thinking about their taxes, especially business owners, and they're all worried about how much am I going to pay? I made too much money. Oh my gosh, I'm going to owe so much. Oh my gosh, and they're scrambling, looking for answers. And what I realized is that unfortunately, I can't help them as much as I could have helped them had they chose to be proactive. But here's the thing, right? They did not know they had a choice. And so now you do have a choice. By the way, I like to say that, Buddha says it best, when we're walking through this space without knowing, we call this the fog of ignorance. And eventually we meet someone like myself or other people that come into our lives, and they bring to us this thing called awareness. And it allows us to now make a human choice to continue to go right or to continue to go left. So needless to say, I get clients that come into me and go, oh my gosh, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? And I say to them, unfortunately, I can't do much for you because that's illegal to help you to avoid paying taxes. But what I can do is I can proactively work with you in the future to help you to implement tax strategies that will help you to reduce your taxes. And how much? Well, last year alone in 2021, we saved over $898,000 legally for our clients that were able to use that money to continue to generate happiness. And this is something that you as an entrepreneur were brought here to do. You were brought here to spread your word of happiness and joy. And happiness is defined as the removing of suffering of others. And so through our businesses, we're able to remove that suffering and to bring happiness to others. And it turns out that the government supports this decision, thereby allowing us to take legal deductions related for the purpose of making money as an entrepreneur. But you see, here's the thing, right? We can talk about your taxes, we can talk about deductions, we can talk about all those things, but we can never really talk about all of that and fix it until we actually address the number one issue that affects us, and that is right here, inside our own mind. The mind that speaks to us on a conscious and a subconscious level. The mind that over here says, you can do it, you can do this, you can rock and roll. Just like when I was 17 years old and I wrote in my journal on December 26th, 1997, and I wrote, no Christmas yesterday, no presents, no money, no festivities, nothing, too poor. But that's okay, Jonathan, because someday, one day, you will be somebody great. You see, on one hand, we've got the mind that speaks, that says all these positive, beautiful accolades. And on the other side, we have this other mind that kicks in and goes, yeah, but you're not smart enough. Yeah, you grew up too poor. Yeah, you shouldn't do this and you shouldn't do that. And you were supposed to do this and you were supposed to do that. I discovered by accident that there's this very special person that is in front of us every single day. And it's true for you as well. This one person that knows you for your true, authentic self has never been judged, has never been ridiculed, has never been made to feel less than. And so what I do through one of my 5-step processes that I call the Bengel method is I introduce you to the most powerful person in this room. And this person happens to be you, your own reflection looking back at you. This person that looks back at you sees you for all of your glory and sees you for all of your unglorious moments. And like I wrote in a book once, when we accept ourselves for all our glory and unglorious moments, there are no actions and there are no words that can stop our purpose. Because remember, as an entrepreneur, your purpose is to make a lot of money while not paying a whole lot of taxes either. You see, the profit mindset is about believing that you are powerful, that you deserve it, that you are valuable. And the more money you make, the more the government is actually going to reward you so that you can continue to help others. The profit
So, Jonathan,
What do you
Yes.
think is a great place for someone to start with getting, because you are all about being proactive, and I love that, and looking forward. What do you think are some good tips for people to start getting and going forward and thinking about the next tax season?
So taxes is about shame. You see, here's why. Because we think that our numbers and our profit define who we are. And so the very first thing that we have to do to step into that profit mindset is to let go of the judgment and the expectations that others place on us. And when we are able to do that, we're able to then to accept the advice that comes to us through tax strategists like myself. So the first thing we have to do is say, okay, well, I made a whole lot of money. I'm afraid about paying a whole lot of taxes, but we let go of that expectation that, oh my gosh, I'm gonna have to pay a whole lot of taxes. Because the truth is when you work with someone like me, your real reality is you don't pay a whole lot of taxes legally.
Do you think, Jonathan, okay, so we've gone through this pandemic for the past couple of years, and it really has shifted people's mindset and what's going on in the workforce. And with this whole mass exodus from traditional jobs, with now this influx of people working for themselves, maybe tapping into multiple jobs, do you feel that that is going to not only increase the flexibility of how people can not manipulate, but own their worth, own what you're talking about?
Yeah, completely right. Taking control of their destiny.
Yes,
right?
yes.
So here's the thing, right? When you woke up in the morning like I did, right, to now 18 years ago, you woke up and you said, I'm going to go and sell my goods, right? My services, my goods, or whatever it is that you're going to go do, and you're going to be a self-proclaimed person. And when you do this, the government says that you, my friends, are what we call a solopreneur, right? Well, the actual legal term is a solo proprietorship. And the reason for this is because the government says you're taking on your own destiny. And with that, you're going to take all the risks that come along with making money. Because here's the thing, right? When we're employed by somebody else as an employee, right? Meaning I'm controlled. When we are controlled and we're the employee, we're guaranteed money, aren't we? Every 2 weeks or every other month or however often we're paid, but we're guaranteed a set amount of money. We don't have to really worry about it if you really think about it. All we have to worry about is how to spend it, right? And make a budget and all that other fun stuff. But when you're an entrepreneur, you've got to go out there and you've got to do this thing called hustling, right? You've got to work so that you can make money. And Uncle Sam understands how difficult it is to be a business owner, which is why he says, look, as long as what you're spending money on has a business purpose for the intention of making money, then as long as you can say yes to the dress, honey, which are 2 questions, which spells the word on. Is what you're about to spend money on, is it ordinary in the due course of business? And is it necessary to make money, honey? If the answer is yes to both these questions, then you may very well have a deduction at your hands, which is why in my book, The ABCs of Deductions, An Entrepreneur's Guide to Tax Write-Offs, which is why I really talk about all of the human/tax principles behind why we are entitled to take certain deductions. And some are common ones, right? Like take advertising, take what I'm doing right here, right now with your show, right? What we're doing right here on this stage. We are speaking and we are presenting valuable information for others to learn from, because as I said earlier, education is the key that ends our poverty. Education is the thing that ends our ignorance so that we can take charge of our life and our future and ultimately become the person that we were born to be, which is a bad CEO capable of making a whole lot of money while at the same time just paying a fair share of tax.
Love that.
That's
awesome.
That's perspective for you right there.
Yeah, awesome.
Absolutely, because I really...
I hate your book.
And we all kind of chuckled when you said, being a business owner means you got to hustle.
Yeah.
And we all can relate being our own individual entrepreneurs, that yes, and I'm glad, and absolutely it is. We have to think about the mindset of, could this be a deduction for me and my business?
I do not make any decisions in my business unless I have a tax incentive to do so. You see, a lot of people don't realize this, but the government is in our business, babies. It's literally in our bedrooms too. And how do I know the government's in my bedroom? Because it says when you have children, I give you these things called child tax credits. It says, oh, you want to be married? I'll give you extra bonuses, right? Oh, you want to separate now? I don't like separation, so now I'm going to penalize you, right? So
It's so true. They absolutely are invested in where we decide to put our efforts. Absolutely.
yes. And as a business owner, right, we don't rob from our own children, right? And I say children, so check this out. I'm a father of 3, right? So I have 3 children. I have a 19-year-old, his name is JB Financial, and he's my tax business. I had an unplanned pregnancy now 2.5 years ago and gave birth to my own talk show, Naked Tax Talk on YouTube. And then of course I just have a 1-year-old toddler, which is my advisory business, which is Jonathan Bengel. And you see, when we think also about our businesses in that mindset too, then we treat our businesses very differently, like we would our own children. So I always say, would you rob from your own kids? And most people say no. So then I say, well, then why would you rob from your own business? And what are you robbing from your business? Opportunities, baby.
I love that.
It's true.
So true.
Great perspective.
Awesome perspective.
Yes.
We just have like a minute left, Jonathan, and I feel like I'd want to talk to you for like 3 more hours. So is there any last little tip that you feel would be a great takeaway, a last thing for our viewers?
I think the thing to remember is this. No matter what gets thrown at us, especially in business, always understand that Uncle Sam or our government is always there to work with you as long as you play with inside the sandbox. Here's the truth. Sandra Yancey of eWomen Network said it best. Business is expensive, and you're either going to pay through utilizing someone like myself, happens to be a tax strategist, or you're going to pay through it through mistakes. And quite honestly, it's so much more cheaper, if I may dare say that word, to work with someone proactively than it is to try to fix a problem after it has already arisen for you.
Yes, absolutely.
Very good.
Well, this is fantastic information, and thank you for sharing your personal story with us too. It was really touching. And we look forward to putting your contact info here at the end of the show, so the hearts you have reached, they can reach out to you. So thank you so much for being with us today. We greatly appreciate it.
Keep doing what you're doing.
Thanks so much, Jonathan.
Fabulous.
Take care of those
Thank
kids.
you.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you for having me on, giving me this opportunity, right?
Yes.
So I really appreciate it. One last thing we could probably do really fast is always remember this. We are not in the capacity to possess. We can't possess our emotions, right? From the good stuff to the icky stuff. So instead what we do, especially when we feel good stuff, is we give it away. And so this is a little prayer you can say that helps to protect our positive emotions. And it goes like this. Thank you so much, ladies, for having me here on your show today. I really appreciate it. And I want to dedicate this feeling that I have that's been generated inside of me, which I'm feeling really happy and a lot of joy right now. And I like to dedicate this to the other entrepreneurs out there who are also feeling like maybe this 22 is going to be a badass year for them. Pardon my French. It's going to be a really great year for them. And so I dedicate it to them. And may every single one of you be happy. May every single one of you never be separated from your happiness. And may every single one of you be free from suffering.
Thank you.
And thank you.
Love that
Very
so
beautiful.
much. Thank you, Jonathan.
Namaste. So this is the most exciting part for me. I get to talk about spring accessories. We're going to wrap the show up with some great tips for everybody going into the spring. And I wanted to start, I was just sharing this with the gals before we got back on camera here, that I used to think you wore your accessories like all year round. And what I've learned recently is by concentrating and taking some more classes on accessorizing, is that accessories, just like clothing, are seasonal. So we're heading into spring, so guess what? We want to have more spring type accessories. So we want them to be a little lighter than that winter, the big clunky necklaces and the clunkier things. And I brought some samples, for example, of some really interesting earrings. The bumblebees, for example, on these earrings are spring related. And Dena has some more bumblebees and then some honeycomb. That represents the spring, and it's so much fun to represent the spring. And I am wearing stacking bracelets that are oval, which I love oval because then they don't spin around like a round bracelet on your wrist. And the one I'm wearing today is Hope, because with spring, there is a lot of hope. And I love looking at this. We know what's going on in life these days. I love looking at my hope bracelet and just, feeling really good about what's happening, what's happening with the trees are going to be blossoming any day, and the fresh smells of the spring will be here any day.
Well, we certainly hope so.
We hope so. I know. Oh,
We're
it
in
will
New
be.
England, so we're ready for the spring.
It will be. Another rule of thumb is that if you're wearing, for example, I have earrings on, and I have bracelets, and I have a belt. So you don't want to overdo things. I actually have a ring too. Rings don't count, but you want to do just 3 things, right? You want to just do earrings. You don't want to overload too much. I've seen people before with, bracelets up and down both arms and lots of necklaces. Layering is really nice, when it comes to necklaces. Like we have them here, and it's a nice light. You can do a light layered look. And you have things in your closet. Dive into that jewelry box, see what you have. Go through that too. We talked about cleaning up things. I just did it yesterday. There's a few things, they just aren't me anymore. They don't go with anything I have. And I put them in the nice, donation bag, and I'm gonna give them to somebody that would love that treasure.
So,
right?
A good tip as we roll into the hopeful warmer weather would be to lighten up the jewelry for the spring. I like
Yes,
that.
you like
And
that?
how about the question of can we mix? Can we mix our silver and gold?
Thank you for asking, because there was a time when all we wore, if we wore silver, we had to wear silver necklace, silver everything. And now it's really compatible for you to do and mix the metals. You can do silvers and golds. You can do rhodium and gold. You can do rhodium and silver. And I love that you can, blend all of those and make it a look of your own. That it's something that's you, that represents you.
Well, I think that certainly leaves us, to be more creative too.
And I love how you said, go into your jewelry box, start to see what you can pull out, what you can put together, what you can recreate a look.
Yeah.
Super fun.
Yay!
Awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right, well, that's it for today. We thank you for joining us, and we hope that you're going to have a fabulous, fashionable spring, and join us again.